Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to Unfiltered Chats with Transcend Training. Thank you for joining in on today's adventure. Let's do this. Hey, welcome to Unfiltered Chats with Transcend Training. I'm Tanya Moorhead.
I'm Peyton Toole. And I'm Angie Lucas.
And we are super excited to get started on our fourth episode. And our topic today is toxic wellness culture, which is something we speak to a lot in the studio. And we're going to kind of dive into what does that actually mean, because we feel like what wellness and health in general today is defined as is not what it's supposed to be. We think it's viewed as almost a negative thing versus a really good thing for the human body, right? So when we say toxic wellness culture, what do you guys think? Like how to explain what that is? Because toxic's a very powerful word. Mm-hmm. It's a strong word, right?
I think that for me, the toxic wellness culture, there are so many people who just have a very bad relationship with food, with exercise, with their body, how they view it and things like that. And to me, the toxicity is mostly mental for most people. It's the mental piece.
Yeah. I agree. Why do you think that is, though? Because do you think it's always been that way?
No. No, I think it's getting worse, don't you? I do.
I think it's getting extreme.
The thoughts around, food and nutrition and working out and things are worse. I think body dysmorphia has probably always been a big thing.
Yeah.
But I think the others are getting worse.
Yeah. I think that, like, we've said this 1,000 times, and then we can, dive into that piece of it right away, I guess, is especially with nutrition. It's like if you are eating healthy, it's almost a bad thing or labeled as a diet, that's the toxic part, I think.
Absolutely.
When you label eating healthy and trying to live a healthy lifestyle as toxic. Like it's labeled as this bad thing now or a diet.
Yeah.
So let's dive into the nutrition piece of, like, Angie, this is kind of more your wheelhouse and something that you're very passionate about. The relationship that people have with healthy food or your favorite in the kitchen, like cooking.
Okay. This is something that I am very passionate about. I tell my nutrition clients, if I could give you one thing, it would be a healthy relationship with food, because I think that for whatever reason, that's just something most people don't have.
Yeah, I agree.
And what I mean when I say that, it's kind of like what Tanya's already hit on. It's, we have this perceived notion these days that if you choose to eat whole foods, and let me start by saying, when we tell you to eat a whole food diet, we mean if it has a mother and it comes from the earth, it's a whole food. It doesn't have a label most of the time, So it's fruits, vegetables, meats, nuts, seeds, all those kind of things. That's what we mean when we say whole foods. And when we tell people to eat that way, they think they're going to do it for a time. A short term.
How long do I have to do this is a question.
Yeah. Instead
Forever.
of knowing that, like, that's just how you eat. Our grandparents ate like that. That's how it used to be. But we live in such a fast paced world that people now feel like they shouldn't have to spend time in the kitchen. They shouldn't have to prep their own food. They shouldn't, because they can just run out and grab it somewhere. And if you look, I don't know how anyone could not see that our health is getting worse.
Well, there's no question.
Yeah, our health is getting worse. And you've got to tie that to something.
Yeah. It can't just be happening.
It can't just be happening. And then I also think that people really struggle when it comes to nutrition with, like, so for me, I eat whole food diet 90% of the time. But if I eat pizza with my kids or we make chocolate chip cookies, like, I have no guilt about that. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But I trust myself enough at this point, because I've done the hard work, that it's not a big deal. And I feel like that people, they fall off or whatever they want to call it, and they eat, on the weekends with their kids, and then it's just sabotage from there on out, and they can't kind of bring it back again, because they have this relationship that they need to earn that food, or that they blew it or whatever it may be.
I'm working with a client right now about this same topic because she will message me or tell me that she ate out and she was like, then I just had a completely terrible weekend. But like, why? Why did you? In order to make it a lifestyle, you should go out and eat. You should have the pizza. You should have ice cream. Obviously not every day, but you should be not even rewarding yourself, but allowing yourself to make it a lifestyle instead of just having to eat these meals every single day over and over. No one will ever stick to that. That's when you're just thinking about it as a diet and not as a complete lifestyle change.
Yeah, and I think the words we use, right? I think that's very powerful. That's, my thing is the words we use. I think saying earning,
right,
reward.
Yeah.
That's why we've kind of changed our verbiage in the studio. Like, we don't call them cheat meals because we started to realize that makes you feel like you're cheating, which is not a great word.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the ways that we, the words we use when we say it, I think that's a toxic part.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, a lot of people will say, well, I did good for 3 days. I deserve.
Yes.
You deserve, what, 3 days? You deserve what? Like, what do you mean? You deserve it. But I'm all about, too, like, we have, like, an off-plan meal or whatever on the weekends or with the kids or, like, do something one time. But don't look at it like a reward. Like, this is just part of your life. Like you said, this is part of my lifestyle. So I'm going to enjoy the cookies with my kids or going out on a date night or, whatever, instead of, oh, well, I earned this.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the right words to use.
No, and I think that when you bring this back to true health and wellness, which is where we always try to keep it,
always.
And you're feeding your body with whole foods because that's what's good for your body, because it is what is going to feed your cells and nourish your organs and everything's going to work. You're doing that for a purpose, not because you need to lose weight. It isn't about weight at all. It is about health.
Yeah.
So when you bring it back to that and you enjoy the meal out, date, pizza, whatever it is, then you understand that you aren't going to feel as good. So it's not as tempting to eat it all the time.
Yeah.
Once you learn the health piece of it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. This just crossed my mind for some random reason. I don't know why. Squirrel. But why is it that people, I totally forgot what I was going to say. Wow. Again, squirrel. Yeah. Why did that just happen?
I don't know.
That's fun. And here's a moment in the life of Tanya's head. We just saw what that looks like 24/7. So, here's that.
Anything? Maybe why is it that people feel that way? Maybe why is it that people look at diets? When people think that they need to get in shape, when people think that they need to get healthy, a diet is the first thing that they think of. They don't think of anything mindset-wise, anything like, what am I doing wrong that's making me make these decisions? Why can't I stay on track? It's the immediate, well, I guess I need a diet. Salads every day. For every meal.
Yeah.
Lettuce. That's it.
People do that a lot.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
But why? Like, I feel like right now it has a lot to do with social media and what people see and what's put out there. But like we always say, that's fake. It's not real. But trying to figure out the root of the problem is different for everyone. But I think it all starts with the mindset. We always say that. But trying to figure out why exactly people automatically go to a diet instead of, even though they know that they're not going to stick to it. That's not the easy way. Like, they know that. As soon as they start, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
So wondering why that's the first, like, toxic thought.
But I think you're right, but I think, like you said, that's what's being put out there. That's what's on social media. I won't call anything out, but like there was a post last week, and it was of a bar. And
we just talked about this.
It was a bar, and you could see part of the label, and as far as the brand, and part of the and most of the ingredients. And literally it said, and if you're at a healthy weight, you could add some apple slices to this. So let me get this straight. If you're heavy or obese or just whatever, if you're not at a healthy weight, you can only eat the chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're healthy, you can have the whole food. Like that is toxic. That is exactly the opposite of how we should be living. You should not be feeding your body chemicals. You should eat the apple, add some nut butter or something like that.
Yeah. But as far as the toxic part goes in media, that's a health coach,
But
right?
people think that
But they're labeled as health coaches. So
Yeah.
you think that that's right.
right.
So now you're creating, so that's the problem, right? So social media has created what we're talking about. I mean, it's a big part of it. It's creating that toxic relationship with food. So now you put what I can eat based on my weight.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again,
And it's shit.
chemicals. If
Did you see my eyeballs?
if you
Wasn't me this time.
yeah, if you're not a healthy weight, you can't eat the apple.
I'm writing that
That's
down. There's one.
crazy. I didn't.
So
Yeah, she's been ranting about
all
that
I
one
can
for
say
2
is
weeks.
the dark angel saw red on that.
She's been talking about that one for 2 weeks.
Oh,
But that does set the stage. Like,
It
that does
does.
set the stage for toxic relationships.
and again, we've broken up with the
food.
fact that we should go in our kitchen and create healthy, wonderful tasting food because this bar is simple or the drive-through is
It's
simple.
easy.
It's easy, and my life's just crazy.
Yeah, and nothing cooking
Same.
easy is ever pans out well, no matter what it is, right?
No.
It doesn't, and I think that's why why people have that relationship, because it is put out there like that. Eat this bar, and it's associated with they're associating it with weight.
Yeah.
And it's
And
quick
quick
and
and
it's
easy.
easy, and it doesn't take any work, zero work.
Yeah.
Literally tap a couple buttons to order it. Really,
And I've had so many conversations recently with my clients heading into the holiday season about, about what they eat and having a cheat or a treat or whatever they call it. I'm like, if you make that at home versus buying it in a store, 10 to 1, it's better for you.
yeah,
Eat the cookies, eat the pie, eat the pumpkin roll.
Yeah.
That was one of them.
Yeah.
Make it at home.
Yeah.
Choose
Okay.
choose good ingredients
Yeah.
without
yeah.
junk in them. Make it at home.
Yeah, I do think a lot of times people say that they don't know what, like, the difference between what the healthy foods are too, and I think that that's an excuse.
Yeah.
At this point, again, most people know.
If
And
you
if you're
can't
in
pronounce it, you know it's a chemical.
Yeah,
For starters, it's very easy now to find list after list of the things that are in our foods
Yeah.
that we shouldn't consume. Like we talked yesterday about butter. Buy a good quality butter that's literally, milk, salt.
Yeah. yeah,
Just
Yeah.
taking the time to
Topic for another
read,
day.
to look at the nutrition
That's the
labels
next
and
month.
like taking the time instead of just going and being like, oh, I know this is a protein bar. This is good for me. I'll just take it.
Yeah.
Like actually read what's in it, because not all protein bars are bad. Not
No.
all there. I mean, there are some
Yeah.
some good ones, some good protein shakes and different things
Yeah.
like that you can buy pre-made, but not all of them. So just taking a little bit extra time to read the labels and make sure that what you're putting into your body is going to be good for your body
Yeah.
and not toxic for
and
your
not
body.
toxic.
And
And I
understanding that no matter what your weight is, you can have an apple with your protein bar.
Yeah.
a real protein bar.
Real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make it yourself. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Make the bar.
No.
No, I know. There's
But
a couple out there.
anyone, no matter your weight, you can eat an apple. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Everybody can eat an apple.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There-
Fruits and vegetables.
Angie wants
always.
everybody to know that you can eat an apple. Do not have a toxic relationship with apples. They are good for you. Actually, go pick your own.
Oh.
So I would say too, just to kind of cover the nutrition, so we can move on to the next topic as far as like toxic. What do you think the foundation, like the start of that is? Do you think that it's driven from media, or do you think we kind of create that on our own, or is it because now it's perceived as hard work, so people stray from it? They stray from it because, let's be honest, it is harder to cook your food. We don't think so. But if you compare apples to apples, since we're talking about apples, if you compare cooking, I'm so good. But if you compare just meal prepping or even cooking a meal at home, it's going to take you 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I can roll up in a Chick-fil-A in that new drive-thru and get through there in 2 minutes. I don't know. I'm just saying. I've never been there.
can't.
Will not.
No.
Refuse. Banned. Hardcore no. But when you put that out there like that, and you're like, well, you can go get your family a whole meal in 2 minutes, but now you have to go home and cook.
Yeah, it's just easily accessible to
Yeah.
get the unhealthy version.
But
The unhealthy option.
yeah, but I think to really look at it, you just have to, because people ask me this all the time, well, how do I not do that? You have to look at, do you want to feel good or not?
Again, it's health. It's
Mhm.
inside.
And that's okay. It's okay to want to feel good.
It's
Yeah.
okay to want to be
And it's
healthy.
okay to want to be healthy.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
And
okay
it's-
to want to
Yeah.
live longer.
It's not a bad thing. It's
No.
not, that's not a toxic thing. It's not toxic to plan your meals out. It's not
No.
toxic to, prep your food. Because people think, well, it takes too much thought. Well, everything takes too much thought. I mean,
Yeah.
everything takes thought. There's nothing in this life that doesn't take thought. So that's just an excuse, right?
Mhm.
Too much time, too much planning. Everything takes time, and everything takes planning. People will sit down and spend hours and hours and days planning useless stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? That actually hurts them probably versus helping them.
Yeah.
If you talk about time, obviously we could go social media all day long, like how much time is
Yeah.
wasted. I'm like, you could have cooked 72 meals just now, scrolling through stupid stuff
Yeah.
that made you angry and feel terrible about yourself,
Mm-hmm.
that made your brain toxic.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think too that people overthink it and then they just do nothing. And I get that. I
Mhm.
really do. But
Because people say that a lot. It's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. And that's why I just tell people, start very basic.
Yeah.
Like you don't have
Yeah.
to grow your own yeast and make your own bread this week. But
Maybe week 2.
But just start with meals that you already like.
Yeah.
Just make them at home. So, like, for example, if you do like Chick-fil-A, make it at home. If you want the same exact thing, just make it at home. Change the ingredients a little bit. And then
Yeah.
you're still eating somewhat healthier than you were. You are trying. You are putting in the work. You are putting in the effort. You're learning how
Yeah.
to do it on your own at home. But that changes everything.
Yeah.
That's a great first step.
Yeah, and we always, at Transcend Training, we always talk about, we're never about change everything right now.
No.
We are always about one little thing at a time, one small change at a time. If it's like some people say they drink, 20 sodas a week. Okay, well, let's get to 19.
Mhm.
That's how basic
Yes.
we go. That's
Mhm.
how minimal we go, because we've all, and me in particular, years ago before I was a trainer, I would go all in, and that lasted about 5 days, and then you do what? You revert way back. You want to talk about toxic?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yep.
You are so much worse. You end up gaining weight. Then you feel really bad. So you have to ease into it, because when you try to make these kind of changes, your body is so toxic that it gives you a hard time.
Mhm.
It's a challenge. It is
Yeah.
hard because your body is wanting those things. It's just like no different than an addict of any kind. It's a food addict, whatever you want to call it. You have to really ease out of it. We tell our people that all the time.
Yeah.
Start with drinking a little bit of water. Cook one meal at home a day.
Mhm.
Like that's how you build. So that would be the solution for what we're saying, right? Because we always want to offer a solution, not just the problem.
Yeah.
So we start small. Cook one meal at home, even if it is spaghetti. At least it's at home,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
It's not at Fazoli's, or I don't even know
Yeah.
who does spaghetti, but I think I've never had Fazoli's in my life, but that just came to mind. But start with one little thing at a time. You don't have to go in and revamp your whole kitchen, refrigerator, your whole family, and everything. Be like, well, guess what, guys? And then everybody hates you,
Yeah.
and you hate
No.
yourself. That's toxic, actually. So that would be. Is there anything else as far as toxic relationships? I mean, we could talk about nutrition and toxicity around it all day long.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
keep it simple.
Yeah.
Keep
Don't
it
look at
simple.
things as rewards and earning, and because that was what I was going to say. Is a lot of people will say, "I feel deprived."
Mhm.
That's a big one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If I really wanted that chocolate today, so I feel deprived because I didn't do it. Well, it's okay if you do it every once in a while, but you can't do it every day.
Yeah.
Not if you want to feel good, not if you want to achieve any result with health and wellness whatsoever.
Yeah.
So it's, you can't look at it like that.
No.
No.
And
Period.
you should,
That's what that sounded like. Done. Thank you, Peyton.
you should allow yourself, obviously, like Tanya said, not every day, but you should allow yourself to have those things, because when you do restrict yourself, when you're like, no, I don't want to eat that chocolate, you're going to eat the entire chocolate
Yes.
bar at the end of the night, the whole bag of chocolate, like if you restrict one. So like if you absolutely have to have it and you need like a little chocolate bar, one little one is, you shouldn't feel bad about that.
Yeah.
You shouldn't wreck the rest of your day because you had one little one. Because if you don't give in to that, if you feel like you need it and you feel like you're restricting yourself and you don't allow yourself to just have one cookie or something
Yeah.
like that, you're going to eat the whole packet at night, the next day, whenever you decide to fall off.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
I would say the toxic part is thinking that you can never have.
Yes.
I'm starting a health and wellness journey.
Mhm.
I can never eat a cookie
And
again.
that's when it goes, how long am I doing this? Because like
Yeah.
you're planning out like, okay,
Yeah.
in 4 weeks I can have the cookie. That's not going to happen.
So maybe that's the mindset approach to when you are trying to make a change with the nutrition of that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you
And
think?
again, I think you can go back to just learning to read the labels and find better options. I'm somebody who loves to take things that would normally be very unhealthy and try to make them healthier. Are they perfect? No.
Yeah.
But, you can find a good quality chocolate, use to get a higher grade to where it's not as much added sugar. They have some really good ones out now that are made with coconut sugar and coconut milk, so they're great for people who are dairy free. But there's all kinds of options if you just take the time to look. Message me. I love doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to educate yourself or go to those people that can help you.
But yeah, what you're
Preferably
saying,
Transcend Training.
Yeah. But what we're saying is correct. It's like you need to give yourself grace and learn to do it and make it a lifestyle.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to say something about the nutrition piece, about how we perceive it, but I forget what I was going to say. Do you have anything else on the nutrition part that we can cover before we move on? Because it all links together, right? About like the toxic part of it. Again, don't look at it. I think the approach has to be, and this is what I was going to say. I'm really struggling with this today. It's fine, whatever. What is going on with me? Oh, I think that we look at food. This is where the toxic part is. I think that I see a lot. With the way I look at food now, versus before I was into health and wellness, I didn't look at food the same way that I do now. I look at food now. I don't look at food as like a reward. I look at food before I eat it every day. How is this going to make me feel? But how is it going to nourish my mind and my body? And I think that's the part that people don't understand today.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Is they look at food as like a celebration, and that's what it is all the time, though. I'm like, you're not just like, it's just like you're celebrating your birthday every single day. Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like, that's what but it's about, you have to change your mindset around what nutrition is supposed to be and feel like, not just fast, quick, and easy, and people wonder why they feel like trash all the time. It's like, before you go to eat it, maybe that's where you start with the mindset piece, is like, okay, wait a minute, before I eat this, how is this going to make me feel? How am I going to feel after? This is what I tell my clients, like, okay, but ask yourself the question before you go through the drive-thru. If you're struggling and you know you shouldn't do it, like, so, which means that's a red flag anyways, right? So if you're questioning it, there's a reason.
Yeah.
But ask yourself, yeah, I really want that right now, but how is it going to make me feel after I eat it? What typically happens?
Tired. You don't want to do anything.
And then
Lazy.
what? So here's the toxic part.
Feel
What happens after you fail at that decision, because you're faced with a choice, and you go down the path of the wrong choice?
Yeah, because if you have that one meal, then dinner might as well be crappy too.
It's exactly what
Breakfast
people
the next day
say.
might as well be crappy too.
Yeah. Yeah, I already messed up. I might as well blow the whole weekend.
Yeah, I'll start next Monday.
I'll start next year, and it's only
Instead
May.
of being like, I'll start at dinner.
It's May. Screw it. I'm waiting until next year. New Year's resolution.
And that's what I tell my clients. I'm like, look, if you have to go one meal at a time, so if you blow it at lunch,
Yes.
whatever, no big deal. You don't just get, eat a healthier dinner.
Yeah. I do think people use nutrition too as a lot of their fallback when they've had bad days. For some, that's a toxic thing too, right? Like, so, I had a bad day, so I just ate the cupcake. Oh, so that made your day so much.
Yeah.
Well, I think people
Fixed it. For a whole 3 seconds. Well, you didn't even chew it; you swallowed it. So, a whole 3 seconds, and that made your day better. Now your day's worse.
Yeah, and I think food and alcohol are both a crutch that people often use. Both good and bad, like to celebrate or to deal with a bad day.
The toxic part would be the mindset, the whole mindset, I guess, around how nutrition is perceived. But basic, like for us though, our big thing with the nutrition piece is eating healthy 90% of the time is not a bad thing. It's okay. It's not toxic to do that. It's not a diet when you're eating healthy.
Yeah. No, culture is making it that way.
Yes.
Because they're making it about weight loss. They're making it about fast and easy.
Yes.
Again, go back to 30, 40, 50 years ago. Everybody was eating whole foods. Like, those are not a new thing.
Yeah.
The chemically produced foods are a new thing. And that's a
Yeah.
rabbit hole that we could go down big time.
Yeah.
I won't, but I mean,
Well,
there's
and-
things in those foods that
Yeah.
make them addictive. So
Yeah.
research it if you want.
yeah, that's
It's
the
there.
truth. Yeah. And I think too, I know when I was growing up, you didn't have nearly as many like fast food restaurants and things
Mm-mm.
like that. So it's really made it more challenging to stay on a healthier path, especially if you are trying to change.
Mhm.
Because everywhere you turn, there's something that you could just drive through.
Yeah.
I mean, look what we have: 2 coffee shops and a Freddy's, and like literally as close as we are right now. I'm like, what? Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and stop at all 3. What? Why? 5? 5 what? 5? Okay, whatever. That's even better. But Richmond, stay strong, Richmond. That shouldn't have been the end. It's not. I just spit everywhere too. I'm so. Oh my god. Okay. So as far as like toxic too, let's talk about the working out piece, because I do think that there's a lot of bad vibes and words and things about like working out.
Mhm.
And
It's toxic on many different levels.
yeah, what would you say, Peyton? Like, what's the top thing that comes to your mind then?
Well, on one level, going to the gym and being around other people, that can make, it can be toxic based on how those people treat you. There are people who are going into the gym just trying to better themselves. They don't care what other people think about them, but it is very hard for them to take that first step. So the gym in general already has a toxic
Label. Yeah,
label
that's
towards
true.
it. So
That's
that's
true.
just one part of it. But also, it can be exactly what we just talked about, the food. You have one bad meal, you don't want to go, or you don't get back on track. If you have one bad workout or you miss one day, you'll be like, I'm okay. I don't need to go tomorrow. I don't need to go the next day. I just need a break. Or maybe I just need a break and I'll be back on track. Maybe
Yeah.
I need a new plan. I'll be back on track. But yeah.
Yeah. So but I think it is perceived that way. Gyms are perceived that way, and people aren't intimidated by them, and they do think that it's this environment where you're judged and whatever. And I always tell my clients this. I'm always like, you ain't that special. Trust me, nobody cares what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're not that special. Don't think you're that special. Unless you're walking around with your ass hanging out or something,
Yeah.
nobody's paying attention to you. Because everybody's there for the same 99% of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there are some toxic environments, I understand that. But most of the time, everybody's there for the same reason.
Mhm.
And I don't care if you're in our place, you're at Planet Fitness, or at whatever. Most people that are there, they feel the same way that you do.
Yeah.
Even if I go to a new gym, and I'm sure you guys can speak to this, if you travel,
Mhm.
even we are seasoned, like we know what we're doing I can walk into any gym and know what I'm doing. It's
Yeah.
not a matter of knowing,
Yeah.
right? But it's that feeling of walking in somewhere thinking people are going to judge you or look at you or you're not going to know what you're doing, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's never like that. It's just not. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it rarely happens. And I think it's a mindset that needs to change around gyms and go into one. Like, and a lot of
Yeah.
people that say that have never been into one.
No, people have said that about us, think that about us, but then when they come in and start training, this is the most comfortable space I've been in. I feel really good when I come here. I feel accomplished. I feel like I did something, but they also feel like we're here for them, which we are.
Yeah.
We are, but they can feel that as soon as they walk in.
And I say if you go into a gym and you do get a toxic vibe and you have that feeling, it just means that's not your place. There's so many options everywhere you live, even here in small town Richmond. I mean, there's a lot of options as far as working out. You should
Yeah.
only go to Transcend Training, but I'm just saying, if you're going to go somewhere else, there's a lot of thanks guys. There's a lot of options. Thanks. But you just have to find your spot where you are comfortable.
Yes.
And you have to keep, like everything else, you just have to keep trying until you find that spot.
Yes. Don't just give up on fitness completely
Yeah.
if you are uncomfortable after one day.
Yeah. And I do think too, this is the toxic part as far as culture, I would say. I would say that people like us in the fitness space that work out, consistently and a lot, it's viewed as a bad thing sometimes too.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Sometimes. Like, why would you spend all your time doing that? Why would
You're
you spend all
obsessed.
your time? Yes, you're obsessed with it.
Yeah. And then it's viewed as like a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, again, that's the mindset that needs to change, is like every human body
Needs movement.
needs and requires.
Yes.
that's not an option. Like, well, it is, but it's not a great outcome if you aren't moving your body.
Mhm.
So I think the mindset around like fitness and going into gyms or any space that offers any kind of movement of any kind, you can go swimming for gosh sakes, and you can do that at the Y. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So there's things you can do that are not intimidating.
Yeah.
And then, if you're too afraid to go the first few times, then go outside and do stuff. I mean, there's so many options, just to move your body. So it's not a bad thing to want to, be healthy. And then we're going to say something. Sorry.
I was going to say, and if you do see someone bettering themselves, working on themselves, there's no reason that you shouldn't look at that person and be like, wow, congrats, like that's awesome, you're doing great.
Yeah.
And not feeling like a jealousy side of it
Mhm.
because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So looking at someone who is actually bettering themselves, eating meals, eating food,
Yeah.
whole foods, going to the gym. I guarantee they're uncomfortable too. Obviously anyone, if you're out of your comfort zone, that's the only way you're going to grow. So they're uncomfortable too.
Yeah.
But looking at someone and not downgrading them for taking care of themselves or calling them obsessed with working out and stuff like that. That comes from you. That's deep-rooted jealousy.
Yeah. That's self-reflection.
Mhm.
Typically, that's an insecurity. That's why people will say, people say stuff to people that are eating healthy.
Mhm.
Like, well, you can have just one, or there's little
Yes.
comments like that.
Yes.
Oh, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
No, that's about you. That's a you thing. You need to go deal with your things, right? Like, I got myself under control. You worry about you. So yeah, that does happen quite a bit. But I think the more you do it, the stronger you become with your responses and your strength inside of
Yes.
yourself to be like, whatever. You see that weight I just looked at? Whatever. But so yeah, as far as the gyms go and just working out, it should never be a bad thing.
No.
It should always be viewed as this is what my body needs and requires. No different than putting healthy foods into your body. This is what my body needs and requires.
Yes.
Right?
Well, and I think media and culture have made the exercise piece, the working out piece, about a look, because you get on Instagram and you see this girl and she's super fit, and again, like exercise, movement, lifting, whatever you're choosing to do, it's about health. Work back on the inside. Like, it has to start there, and that's what it needs to be about. It doesn't need to be about, like
Or impressing someone else.
Yeah.
Or doing it for other people to see that you're doing it. So you're not going to get any results that way.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else on the working out piece as far as that goes?
I was just going to say, too, that back to kind of working out and nutrition, I feel like some people feel like they need to work out to earn their food. We talked about that a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Or they, if they work out, they can eat X, Y, and Z, and that's not really how that works either. So I feel like that gives them another toxic mindset of like, well, I worked out an hour and a half today, so it's fine if I run through Chick-fil-A or
I used to do that. I just had a great leg day. I'm gonna go get some donuts.
Yeah,
it'll all go there.
Yeah, it's all going to my legs.
I used to think that,
but that goes back to the earning, right? Like, so I earned it.
Or just.
Yeah, so I think too, really at the end of the day, all of it boils back down to what we always talk about at Transcend Training is the mindset around what health and wellness is. I think, like you said, I think media has has created the toxic wellness culture more than anything because of all the things that we said. It's just viewed.
Don't you think it started back with commercials?
Yeah. Probably.
Before.
Yeah.
In the olden days.
In the olden days, on actual TVs.
Yes.
And if you do
boxes.
need,
that were boxes.
If you are someone who needs, rewards, say you got 15 squats instead of 10. You got 10 last week, you got 15 this week. Maybe you reward yourself with, a new water bottle. Or leggings, or something to work out, something that's going to keep you on your journey instead of just being like, okay, I've worked out every day this week. I cannot wait to eat everything in sight when I go out tonight. Yeah,
I think that's a great way to view it too. But again, it all needs to be viewed as a lifestyle.
Or if that's your thing and you're going out tonight, then eat it tonight. Get up tomorrow and move on.
Yeah,
The table a lot. Sorry.
like we said, we do have solutions
Great.
as well. And I told my client that I was talking about earlier this, if you're going to go out to eat, which is fine, perfectly fine. If you're going to do that, just make sure you're not absolutely starving. Same way if
Yeah.
you're going to the grocery store. You don't want to go hungry. You're going to buy everything. But if you go out to eat and you're already starving, you're already hangry, you're going to get the most unhealthy thing on the menu. Instead of taking the time to actually read the menu and be like, okay, well, instead of a gigantic burger and cheese fries, I can get like salmon, mashed potatoes, and green beans. Like it
Yeah.
just cleans it up. Like there are healthy options. It might not be the healthiest, but there are healthy options. So just taking that time and not starving yourself before you go, that is a solution to help you stay on track, or at least choose the healthier option.
Did you guys want to touch on, I know we've been running kind of long here, but what do you say about like the toxic relationship with body image? Let's try to touch on that kind of quick. We're getting kind of to the point where we need to wrap it up. But what do you think about that? Like, what's the toxic part about body image? I know we could do a whole 3-hour episode on, especially us, like we could totally talk about body image forever, but there's a toxic relationship that runs deep with that. So as far as like what it is to be, what is that?
I have noticed just from me trying to get my hormones back in track, I am able to look at myself one week and be super happy with what I see. I'm able to look at myself the next week and absolutely hate what I see.
Yeah.
And then the next week I feel, okay, calm, no anxiety. I just feel very good. And then that's a constant cycle. But that's normal. That's you, like, especially with women and our menstrual cycles and everything like that. Like, you do feel like that. That's your hormones. They change every single month. But I've just noticed that it happens more frequently when I am like actually on track with everything. My hormones are getting back in check. So I know just looking at myself week to week, it's different. It changes. So being able to look at yourself and be like, I know that I've been doing everything I need to do. I know that I'm following my plan and getting my exercise and movement in general.
Yeah.
There isn't a reason I should be looking so like down on myself right now, even though what I see in the mirror is crazy looking right now.
Crazy awesome or crazy
terrible. In a few
days.
days I'll be okay.
Yeah. What do you think, Angie?
I think that body dysmorphia is definitely a problem, and it's like defined as having one specific flaw that you focus on, or even as not actually seeing, like kind of what you were talking about, not seeing yourself as what you were there. And I know that that's a thing. And I think it continues to get worse because of media and things like that. But I think that most women, especially, would say, like, they have a specific part of their body that they absolutely hate. Well, can we just change this?
Yeah.
Or they see themselves bigger or smaller, usually bigger than they actually are. So I definitely think body dysmorphia is a real thing. And I think we talk to ourselves in our head more than we talk to anybody else.
Yes.
And we tell ourselves things that aren't true, or maybe, whatever. But we have these very negative conversations with ourselves in our head all the time. And I feel like that's creating a lot of the toxicity around all of it.
All of it.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. I think that it's a big thing. It does involve, it just brings it all together. Like it's all smashed in, So yeah, I agree. I think that there's so many things that we could talk about on all levels of this, but I would say, like, what would you guys, I know what I would say, but what would you guys say would be the first step in general? So if somebody's in this space, they feel, in a really bad spot, they're like afraid to start working out, they have a bad relationship with food, they're afraid to go to the gym, they know they need to get healthy, they want to get healthy, but they see it as a negative thing. What's the first step? Other than calling Turrence and Training.
I was going to say come down to Turrence and Training.
Good job. Synced.
I think whether it's us or something, I think find somebody who truly wants to help you, or, a friend, whatever, who truly has some education on
who truly has the
fact.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Who truly has the education, and do your research. Like, you can go and talk to trainers or whatever, coaches, whatever, and see if they align with what you're wanting, or see what they know. Just because somebody labels themselves a health coach doesn't mean they're a good one.
Yeah.
Or even trainers.
And like you said, your tagline last time, Trans and Training, where the conversation is always free. Like, have a conversation. Don't be afraid of that. I don't think we're intimidating.
We're not. So stupid. People say that. You're so nice.
But
You're so nice.
Just taking that first step for you. Just taking that first step and even if that is the first step and you don't take another step for a few weeks, but that first step of just trying to get information, trying to better yourself.
I do think it's really important to put yourself in a space. We talked about this, about your circle and people that you're around. I think that is the first step because it is so hard and it's not normal to be healthy or want to be or make those changes. So to me, it's really important to put yourself in an environment that you're going to have that support because it does take a lot of support. It does take and that's, I think one of the reasons, or I know that's one of the reasons I do what I do because I never had that and I know that I needed it. And that's why I love being that support for people. And I think that's why you guys do it too, right? Yeah. Is because you didn't have it and you found it or needed it and you want to be that for people. I think it's really important to find that space and those people, regardless of where that is, like being honest with that, wherever that may be. I think that's probably the first step into making healthy changes because you are going to need the support constantly. Right. That's what our clients say all the time. We're like, sometimes this is the only place that I have the support to keep pushing through to want to be healthy.
And I think saying that, I think you have to realize to start your journey is that it is going to take change
and time
because I think a lot of people, they come in and we can give you all the information in the world. I can absolutely flood you with recipes and nutrition and all the things.
Never works.
But if you don't really want to change or you aren't willing to do something you haven't done, like well, I've always eaten 1,000 calories. Well, it's never worked. But you aren't willing to change that. I think that's where people get hung up, and I think that's where the support, coming in the gym, being around it. Oh, maybe they do know what they're talking about.
Because we really do try to change people's mindset around everything we just talked about. Like we try to change everybody's mindset on what healthy is, what it means, and what it's supposed to feel like. Notice I didn't say anything about what it looks like. Because that looks different for everybody. That's not a look, it's a feeling. And that's the toxic part is people are chasing healthy based off of a look. And I don't care the way you lose weight, like if it's a shot, if it's a shitty meal plan, or the plans that are out there telling you to eat 800 calories, y'all know who you are. You know it, I'm over it. But none of that stuff is ever going to get you to the place of being healthy. It actually does the opposite. And you want to talk about creating, Tanya, don't. Do you want to talk about creating toxic relationships with food? Go do some of that stuff where you don't eat for days. Because that's what that stuff is creating now. So we're going to do a shot and not eat for days. Great. Now I hate food. Now I have an eating disorder. Awesome. Sign me up for that shit. Right? But in the same thing with 800 calories. So now you're telling me, oh, I'm losing weight taking in 800 calories. Great. Now I just paid for an eating disorder. Thank you. That's what that stuff is doing. So there's where your toxic relationship is like people out there pushing that kind of stuff. Don't go to those people. They're not professionals. They're just making money off of you. Period. We don't do that here. We literally want you to feel healthy and to feel better. Go to those kind of places. That would be my number one advice for today. Is go to the places. Peyton, don't smile at me. But it's the truth, right? So if you want to dig into what toxic is, there you go. That's what it is. That's what toxic wellness and culture is. Is people losing weight, doing unhealthy, really, really dangerous things to the human body. And if anybody knows anything about the human body, you are not going to tell people to not eat food.
Or chemicals.
Or chemicals in bars. You know who you are too. Don't call yourself a health coach. You haven't definitely not earned that. But but that's the truth. That's the culture part that is so ugly that I can't stand. Is that's what you're creating that for people, for humans that want to get better, and you're offering them something that's not going to make them feel better. So do your research when you're starting on a health and wellness journey, and when you're going to invest in it anyways. Some of that stuff that I just named is over $500 a month. You can come train with us one day a week and save money and get better education and probably better internal results quicker than anything. Because that's really what you take away from us first is the internal result. And then the out is a bonus. Right? That's creating a healthy relationship with health and wellness.
Yes.
That's why our new tagline is what? Healthy starts here. Because there's not many places you're going to go that it actually does.
Yeah.
It's going to create unhealthy. There's your unhealthy start. The people should be hashtagging that. Come do this with us. Unhealthy starts here. This is why people don't like me. Okay. Anyways, anything else? We need to wrap it up. It's been a long one. Which, again, any of these we do, we could literally spend hours and hours on. Because, number one, we have the knowledge to back the time.
Yeah.
We are passionate about every single topic that we bring to the table. And we truly want it to come across to help people, period. Right?
Yeah.
So that's why we try to really come up with these topics of things that we have going on in the studio. A lot of the things that are talked about, struggles inside of the studio. We're always open to, comments, advice on what, or some ideas of what some topics that people would like to hear. We have 1,000,007, so because we are only doing one a month, so we could do a ton of them because we have so many. But we, appreciate everybody watching and doing all that. But as far as, toxic wellness culture, I think we literally just scratched the surface.
Yeah.
I think. And so from us, from Transcend Training, if you are somebody and you've connected with this and you do feel like you need the help, like Angie said, we always say, what do we say?
The conversation is always free. I think what she's trying to say is...
No, you're right. That was it. I'm done. I'm done here. Over. Peace out. See y'all later. See you next episode. Healthy starts here.
Healthy starts here.
But you're right. That's what I was going to say about a conversation is always free. And I have literally seen so many lives change with one conversation. Whether that be out of the gate, whether that be they're into training, they're into nutrition, they're doing something major always ends up happening that changes the mindset. And when you start changing the mindset around all of this, that's your first step into change forever, like forever lasting change. Yes. So yeah, come see us at Transcend Training. Anything else y'all want to say before we wrap it up after this long one? No? Well, thank you for joining us today for our podcast. We really enjoyed it. It's been fun as always. Yes, I have a brain, I promise. It's just full. We are doing a ton of things at Transcend Training. Come check us out. We're always growing, always trying to offer new things, always trying to bring healthy to the table for sure, and change everybody's mindset. I think we are definitely really starting a movement here in Richmond about what healthy really is. For sure. And we will climb that hill, and it's a mountain right now, it seems like, and that's what I posted about today. Sometimes it feels like a mountain that we're climbing, a monstrous mountain, but we will die. I personally, I can't speak for them. I can't say when they're going to die, but I will die on that mountain, but I know that they would too. Climbing that mountain, they'll do everything that they possibly can to just help one more person, because we've always said, one person, one day at a time. That's all that we're focused on. So if it's more, awesome. But yeah, thank you for joining us for episode 4 with Unfiltered Chats with Transcend Training about toxic wellness culture. Have an amazing day.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining us on today's Unfiltered Chat with Transcend Training. You can stay connected with us on Facebook, Instagram, our awesome YouTube channel, our amazing website, transcendtrainingky.com, and our brand new Transcend Training app. Stay healthy and stay strong, friends. See you next time.